Do you remember when gaming was about having fun? You mean it wasn't about battle passes? Well, so does Corn Kid 64. Don't like corn? No problem, because the game isn't actually about corn, it's about being a goat and smashing your head against things. You play as a goat kid who is trapped in a dream about nachos, but he soon realizes that the nachos are the least of his worries in the grand scheme of the dream world. Your goat friend, Alexis, who astral projects into your dream via portals, serves as your main guide throughout the sleep realm. Along with basic jumping and movement, you're armed with a couple of extra goated abilities. It's a goat. It's like the slang, the goated. So. One is climbing, so each time you jump toward a wall, you gain a short burst of extra vertical distance that helps you grab ledges. The second and core feature of the game is headbutting. You can headbutt in 4 different ways: upwards, downwards, forward in the air, and forward on the ground. Headbutts are used for pressing switches, breaking things, doing damage, butt jumping, extending airtime, and various other applications that you'll discover throughout the game. These abilities create a charming flavor to the game's movement that helps carve out its unique identity as a goat platformer. The controls are tight and responsive, and it feels extremely satisfying to chain together a combination of jumps, headbutts, and climbs to reach a high point in the game. Be careful not to fall though, because there is fall damage that will deplete some of your nuclear green soda bottle HP meter. An empty soda bottle spells game over, where the game taunts you with a sad looking ear of corn. Dying in this game is thankfully pretty forgiving and just resets you back to your last checkpoint without destroying any progress. The main collectible in Corn Kids is the XP Cube. Collect enough of these chunky squares and you'll level up, which allows you to access special level-locked doors that are required to progress throughout the game. XP Cubes are finite items that don't respawn, so you're encouraged to explore as much of the game world as you can if you want to progress. Some are simply hidden around the map, but others are granted as rewards for completing side objectives, which can range from helping a pig person projectile vomit to completing special challenge trials that test your platforming expertise. Other than XP cubes, there are a couple of quest-related collectibles and some optional secret collectibles as well. While there are a few different zones in this game, they're all interconnected, so you can easily revisit previous areas to hunt for straggler cubes. For me, what makes Corn Kid 64 such a special game is the way that it rewards curiosity-driven gameplay. Let me explain what I mean by this, and I'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. The crux of the game's content takes place in an area called Wallow's Hollow, and when you arrive here, you aren't told anything about this zone. Initially, it just kind of seems like another area to collect XP cubes in, like a means to an end. But as you move through the zone, you start to see clues that there's a conflict happening in this town, and as you talk to the town's inhabitants, they all share pieces of information that help explain what's going on in Wallow's Hollow. I think a lot of modern games get too caught up in always telling the player exactly what they need to be doing at all times through things like map markers and quest logs, and when you're just mindlessly doing whatever the game tells you to do, you don't really get that rewarding experience of using your brain. So you find out the overarching objective of this zone through your own gameplay and not through the game explicitly telling you exactly what you need to do. And it feels really satisfying for the player when you finally get it. There was this thing that classic N64 platformers would do with their level design, where each level felt like you were just dropped inside of a playground and the developers were like, have fun, because you're surrounded by a bunch of self-contained puzzles that you can tackle in any order you want. But they're all built so naturally into the environment that they feel like cohesive elements of the biome that you're in, rather than separate, disconnected challenges. Corn Kids follows this same design philosophy where you have all of these different micro areas that you can explore, and it's up to the player to decide which tree they want to climb, which building they want to scale, which NPC they want to help. And each path you choose has its own rewarding conclusion while still feeling connected to the rest of the zone. As someone who hates games that feel too easy, I think Corn Kids features an enjoyable level of challenge without feeling too unfair. It is a platformer, so some precise movement is required at times, but there are enough checkpoints and safety nets in the game that it doesn't feel too bad when you mess up. The game's music kinda sucks. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's amazing. Sound effects, which are often overlooked, can make a big impact on the vibe of a game. Remember Lanky Kong's noises? No? Well, now you do. Unfortunately. In Corn Kids, the clip-clop of the goat hooves, the satisfying headbutt thumps, and the cute goat noises all add an extra oomph to every button press. And if you're still not sold on the game, just look at this burb enemy. What is this? Corn Kid 64 is a special game that manages to pay homage to a very influential time period in gaming history, while also having its own unique identity and just being incredibly fun to play. The game took me around 7 hours to complete, but there are tons of side objectives and secret areas, and an entire post-game section that I didn't even do in my playthrough, so you can definitely get more playtime out of it if that's your thing. It's only $7 on Steam, which is insane to me. I think it's a complete steal. This is gonna sound corny. This is the kind of soulful game that keeps my passion for video games alive, and I just want to give a big thank you to the indie developer Bogosoft for all of the work he put into this title. Corn Kids seems to be his only game that's actually published on Steam, but he does have a cool portfolio website that features some of his older work that's definitely worth checking out. Thank you guys for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to eat your corn. Or something. I don't fucking know.